Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? Welcome back, you guys, to the podcast. um, sorry, I'm late here tonight, but I just want to say I'm here. I am here by the grace of God. I apologize that I was not here last night, or excuse me, last week. What I mean, last night, last week, I was not here last week. So I hope you didn't think that I ghosted you. I did not ghost you. I just was not feeling my best, so I did not come on. But we are back. Amen. And we are back with a great topic tonight. We are talking about the secrets, the dark secrets of the modeling industry. The dark secrets of the modeling industry. Um, Ex model Barbara Stoyanoff tells all. So, this is going to be a doozy, as you probably suspect. This is going to be, another one of those where it's for mature audiences only because there is content or information being shared that is not suitable for children, and also um, yeah, just it's just one of those where you're going to have to buckle up again. So just buckle up, get ready, and let's go. All right, guys. Working on a new intro, so pardon that if you were expecting the latest or the one that we always see. I'm working on a new intro, just changing things up a bit because it is fall winter season. Amen. Fall winter season, and at every season or every quarter of the year, I try to do something different. I try to give you guys some variety. I like variety. I like change. I like newness, freshness. I like to refresh things and just keep them, just keep us on our toes a little bit. So yeah, it helps me a lot. I have my little coffee here, my little cozy drink. So grab something. If you don't have yours, you can feel free to grab your coffee, your tea, whatever you're having. This is just a little coffee to keep me alert because I have been really, really drained lately. So, yeah, a little coffee. Cheers before we get going. And I hope you guys like the new background. I just basically flipped the room. That's all I did. I flipped the room. Again, new season calls for change. We love change, right? Some of us do. Some of us do. So, yeah. So tonight, I'm going to be showing you some video clips that are from an ex international model. Her name is Barbara Stoyanoff, and she has done several interviews. Um, but the ones that I'm going to show you tonight is from Sean Atwood's channel, the one that I typically, resort to when I'm sharing with you guys. And her story, her testimony, her experience. There's the word. Her experience is absolutely mind blowing. It's this is a behind the scenes look into the modeling industry, uh, and she's going to be talking about, trying to get my sound right here. Can you guys hear me? Hope you can hear me. Um, she's going to be talking about, Jeffrey Epstein, the high profile celeb elites, uh, elites, yes, and high profile celebrities who are the monsters behind this industry and what goes on in the industry, right? When the cameras are off, what goes on in the industry, what goes on with the models, how they are basically trafficked, okay? And so on and so forth. So buckle up, grab your coffee, and yeah, let's get into this. So, the first thing I want to say, because I always forget to say, is please like, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and also share the broadcast because we are trying to get the truth out there. Amen. So, like, comment, and share. um, so yeah. Okay, so we're going to, while you're doing that, I'm pulling up uh, one other clip that I wanted to show you that I had to actually look for again. Let's see. Our first clip is called Surviving Epstein's Black Book, Part One and Part Two. Those are the ones that we're going to be looking at tonight. And then there was another one that I wanted to pull for you guys, but we might not have time for that. So I'm just going to go with this one for now. And I'm getting it on the screen for you right now. Let's see. So just let me know if you can see. Oh, we're going this side today. We're going this side. So going to this side. Actually, I think it might be better. Yeah. Let's just go this way. Trying to adjust you guys just a sec. Okay, we're ready to go. How are y'all doing anyway? I never ask how you're doing. Well, I do, but yeah. How are you doing? Hope you're doing fine. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a better week than I did last week. um, okay, so here we go. Let me know if you can see this. If everything's clear, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, let's go.
And New York, been on me. Barbara with us tonight, international model, walked the runways of Paris, Milan, New York, been on major magazine covers, worked with top fashion brands, but behind the glitz and the glamour is a darker truth. In this interview, Barbara is going to talk from her own real life perspective about the harsh realities of the modeling world, including experiences with Epstein, Diddy, former Abercrombie CEO Mike Jeffries, and Jay-Z. So we got a hell of a lot of ground to cover, folks. And because of the nature of what you've been through, Barbara, and we got a restriction on this channel by the cops, I've got to ask you, first and foremost, do you give us permission to publish your story, and do you waive anonymity?
Sorry.
Yes, you can publish. Yes.
Appreciate that. Just before we get into all that, then, do you just want to, I said, and just tell the viewers a little bit about your history, what got you into that career?
So around the age 6, 7, 8, there were scouts in Texas that were looking for beautiful kids, like young children wanting to be actors or models. And that's when all these modeling schools started, is in the 90s. So that's when I was discovered in the 90s, and I started taking acting classes. And then around the age of 10, I was discovered by Bruce Weber. I was doing theater under the stars in Texas, and he discovered me along with other models or upcoming actors. And then I landed the Ralph Lauren.
Brilliant. We were doing so well.
And that's what started me off on my career. And then I connected with an agency in Texas, and then they connected me with an agency in New York. And I was going back to New York and Houston, Texas, where I'm from. And my career started to take off around the age of, let's say 12. And then I started going to New York and Texas, California, Florida. I even started traveling to Tokyo. I was traveling to Paris, to London. I was doing all the fashion shows. I was creating a name for myself. My enterprise started building up. I bought my first house when I was 15 years old. So I started pretty successful out the gates. I believe that's when all the brands and the models started to take off, like Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, all the supermodels were very relevant then. So they always called me Baby Cindy, like Cindy Crawford.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Barbara,
uh-huh.
did you feel safe at such a young age in that industry?
Yes, the reason why I felt safe starting so young was because my mom was always with me. My mom traveled with me up until the age of 16, 17. She traveled with me all the time. And my mom is Eastern European. She's Bulgarian, so she has a very heavy accent. I was born in Bulgaria. I came over here when I was around the age of 4 or 5. I didn't speak any English. So my mom was also in the entertainment industry. She was an opera singer in Europe and she sang for, all the stars, all the diplomats. So she coached me when I started modeling. She said, "Look, you have to be very careful. This is not an industry where you want to, have your eyes closed. You have to keep your eyes open. Don't accept things from men. Don't accept things from women. Focus on yourself. Be the best you can be. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to do a job you don't want to do. You can always say no." So I followed my mom and I kind of established a name for myself, and people were calling me Diva Babs.
Okay, pause, guys. I want to go back to this magazine cover because I noticed a few things there that, I mean, like I said, we've had our eyes wide shut for so long, and these things have been just so in our faces for so long, and we had no clue. So these hidden in plain sight kind of stuff is just, it's really really mind blowing. Look at this cover. I'm gonna make it big for you guys. This is the cover of
Started
Cosmopolitan magazine. And let me open it so you can see what I'm talking about. So look at this cover carefully, okay? It says cosmopolitan, the international language of young women. The international language of young women, right? This is the September 1995 issue. And look at the headlines, okay? The first one over here to your left of the screen, it says free with this issue for available men. Now, keep in mind, this is the international language of young women. This is what we call grooming, you guys. This is what we call grooming, right? For available men. Why would young women want to know about for available men? Okay. This is how we know that this stuff has been a cult from the get up, right? Then under that, it says free wishes. Why having a fling is a very good thing. Why you can't make this stuff up. Why having a fling is a very good thing. Is it a good thing? I mean, do you see the devil at work here? Okay. Moving on. Next one says, if only I were thin, I'd be happy. The vicious lure of anorexia. So it's basically saying, okay, anorexia is dangerous, right? It's vicious, right? It's alluring, right? It draws you in. But they're putting the quote on the screen, on the cover, if only I were thin, I'd be happy. So majority of young women or young girls are going to look at that and stop right there. If only I were thin, I'd be happy. And that's probably, spreaded the whole anorexia thing, right? Moving on, just moving on. Next one says match of the day on the right side. Match of the day. Why more women are thrilled by the F word. Do you see how they're planting seeds in the minds of young women? Why more women are thrilled by the F word. I'm pretty sure in this issue, it's not warning against the F word. It's not telling us what God thinks, what the Bible says about the F word. Don't use the F word or anything. It's just saying, you know, it's called grooming. The next one says, what are the top 10 qualities you need in a partner? Notice everything is about sex. It's sex driven, right? What are the top 10 qualities you need in a partner? Doesn't say a husband, doesn't say, moving on. Last one says Hollywood horrors. So it's telling you, this is horrible. Keep young and beautiful women, keep young and beautiful if you want to be loved. Keep young and beautiful if you want to be loved. And these are the covers, the magazine covers that we, young women, we as young women were purchasing. We as young women, if we weren't purchasing it, whenever you went to the grocery store with your parents, etc., it was right there, by the cashier, right there at the on the stand, at the front of the stand, these types of things. And so I just wanted to draw your attention to that, because it's really showing us, and it's really telling, how hidden in plain sight this has been for so long. But look at how far we've come, that, or how much time it took for people's eyes to start opening, and people to start waking up. That's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna keep going.
Many windows from studios, and
I'm gonna go back to where we left off. We're gonna skip through this though, because there's a lot to get through. We might have to do a part 1 and part 2, because this video I'm showing you is over an hour long, and I don't want to be here that long. Also, another thing I wanted to point out is how she said that her mom, protected her, right? So that's how she was able to make it through the industry to tell about it. Here we go.
sang for, all the stars, all the diplomats, prevalent then. So they always called me Baby Cindy, like Cindy Crawford.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So,
Barbara,
uh-huh.
did you feel safe at such a young age in that industry?
Yes, the reason why I felt safe starting so young was because my mom was always with me. My mom traveled with me up until the age of 16, 17. She traveled with me all the time. And my mom is Eastern European. She's Bulgarian, so she has a very heavy accent. I was born in Bulgaria. I came over here when I was around the age of 4 or 5. I didn't speak any English. So my mom was also in the entertainment industry. She was an opera singer in Europe, and she sang for, all the stars, all the diplomats. So she coached me when I started modeling. She said, "Look, you have to be very careful. This is not an industry where you want to, have your eyes closed. You have to keep your eyes open. Don't accept things from men. Don't accept things from women. Focus on yourself. Be the best you can be. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to do a job you don't want to do. You can always say no." So I followed my mom, and I kind of established a name for myself, and people were calling me Diva Babs because I would turn down jobs. I would turn down even jobs working with certain photographers like Patrick Demarchelier. Patrick Demarchelier is a predator. He grabbed my breast. I've crawled out of many windows from studios working with Patrick. We shot for Elle magazine together. We shot many jobs together. He was very inappropriate with me. So my agency basically threatened me and said, "If you don't stop leaving, he's never going to work with you again." I said, "I don't really care." So they called me Diva because I was like that.
Yeah.
How old were you when he allegedly did those things?
I started working with Patrick when I was around 18.
Okay.
So I worked
And,
with Patrick for a long time, 5, 6 years.
and, just to set the stage a little bit for everybody there, your career started young. It went, and it kind of snowballed, Barbara, right? You were saying it just sort of catapulted, and you found yourself in places and at events and being guided towards this sort of fame, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So let's just give everybody a little teaser, right? Because we're going to be doing our show tonight, and we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. Obviously, we're going to be diving into Epstein's Black Book and what the meaning of that is, how it all connects, how you fit in with everything. But what other names and elites and celebrities will be covered throughout the weeks? Now, I just want to prefix this to everybody. You're going to hear some names now. When we talk about individuals, we may be smart about it, and we may have to guide you towards a certain individual if certain individuals may be millionaire rappers who can sue everybody. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be some of that involved in the narrative. But just for this particular section, what sort of individuals have you, for a variety of reasons, met and been involved with over the years, Barbara?
Okay, well, there is a rapper who is currently in jail right now. I worked with him for 5 years. I worked for John, the 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 fashion brand that Diddy Sean Combs has. Um, I worked with him for 5 years, and he threatened me after the 5 year contract if I didn't stay that night at his house for the after party. He was not going to renew my contract, which he was so cheap, by the way. I'm going to tell you how cheap he was. He was so cheap that I had to fly the next day to New York on a red eye, shooting for Pantene that I got paid $500,000 for. And he hired me for 5 years and paid me $200,000 for. So it shows how cheap he is. So I told him, "You can't afford me. I'm not staying for your party." And he said, "Well, listen, that's not a good look." His son, who was his son? That cute one that had Quincy. I was modeling Quincy's fashion line, and he said, "You're the perfect fit for Quincy's fashion line." I said, "Well, then you have to pay me more." So there's that guy. Then there's another rapper that starts with the J, ends with the Z. That guy, big jerk. Uh, I'm affiliated with also John Legend, David Blaine, Naomi Campbell, um, Harvey Weinstein, uh, Renee Zellweger. Uh, who else? I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, it's a pretty long list. I'm not going to lie.
Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. You know, Diddy, Jay-Z, she's talking about, yeah, she's spilling the beans here. So yeah. This is the realities of the modeling industry, you guys.
It's probably quicker to say who isn't involved in this than who is, because it is a very complex tale. And the center of this for you, Barb, is to expose the networks and the methods used by Epstein and individuals like him, the difference between individuals like you who are not only generating money but are chasing this promise of fame. So let's go to this. Let's sort of jump into the point in your life where you were introduced and Epstein became part of that world.
Okay, so the world that I was in was very. It's okay. You want to be at the top. As a model, your goal is to be a top supermodel. Okay. So, in order to be a top supermodel, you have to be exposed, go to events like a Cartier party. You have to go to the after parties after a fashion show. You have to mingle with these high end elites. So, in order to mingle with them, your agency tells you, "Hey, since you did the, Louis Vuitton fashion show, after the show, there's an after party. So you have to go. So you go to these after parties and you get affiliated with these CEOs, these other brands. You have to learn who is the designer and the CEO of Louis Vuitton, who's the designer of Tom Ford, who's running which magazine, who's the editor-in-chief of Vogue, who's the editor-in-chief of Marie Claire. That's my job. I have to know who is who. Why? Because I'm my own brand. I'm representing myself. As a model, I am a brand, I'm an enterprise. So I want to be up here, not down here. So I have to go to these parties. So what happens is a lot of these guys like Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, CEOs of many corporations, they call up the agencies and they say, can you please invite your top 20 girls to these after parties so, all the men and women can make it like an ambiance. And you want to be the top 20. You want to be there. You understand? You want to be in these events. You want to be in these parties. So when the agency tells you, you should go to these events and these parties, is to show that you're going to be there, take the photos, be in the prestigious elite. So that's how that works. That's why all the models, such as myself, want to go to these events, because you're a brand. You have to keep working and making money. So the agency, your agent, sets you up with these guys such as Epstein. Maybe you're going to go on a date, maybe you're not. So I was affiliated with a lot of girls that went on dates with Epstein. And my boyfriend, my fiance at the time, was David Blaine's producer. So I'm already in the elite group. I'm already going to these parties. I'm already being affiliated with these top celebrities. I'm going to these parties. I don't necessarily have to participate because I'm already affiliated, but I'm seeing what's going on. You see, there's my phone.
Okay, pause real quickly. Notice what she said. She said that they have to go to the parties. They have to go to the parties. So that's a lot of pressure on, a young girl who's trying to make it in the modeling industry. They have to go to these perverted parties, dates with these, execs and so on, in order to get into the who's who, of the modeling industry, basically. And also when she said, you're taking pictures, for them and things like that, like they're using these models as kind of like for promo, right, for PR. Then they're using these models also, for fillers. So when they have these high profile events, so on, and red carpet events, they always have the models to to come and to take pictures and so on and so forth. It just draws people in. It draws in interest. Beautiful models that they have. Transformed, to their liking. So, and the third thing I got out of that was, not only did she have the protection of her mother, but she also had the protection of her fiance. She's married now. She has been married since then. So she's talking about her fiance, who is now her husband. All these years later, they have been, all these years they've been married. So he's been going to the parties. He was going to the parties with her to protect her as well. So that's another reason why she didn't end up, in bed with a monster.
Photos.
So, did Epstein? What was his reputation like? Was all the dark stuff hidden?
So the dark stuff, when we went to his house, when we went to his condo to go to these events and these parties, I saw all these people and people I was affiliated with. They were all there. And there were also models there doing bad things. And for me, I would watch these models and these men interact with each other in inappropriate ways. And I was watching and not participating but watching. And I knew what he was doing. I was watching how he was interacting with all the models and also stroking them, touching their hair, flirting with them. And
So
when
what?
we were at Epstein's house, there was a room there that you can do drugs. It's whatever drugs you wanted, it was there. My fiance at the time was doing all these drugs.
So the stories that he used offers of making, creating work with Victoria's Secrets and stuff like that. Would you heard him use?
Yes. So all the Victoria's Secret models were there at the parties with the men. So they invite the models so they can be there for the men. Then they go in other rooms and do whatever they want to do. They have sex, whatever they're doing. You know why they're there. Then the women, they'll come out, they get Chanel bags or their apartments paid for. They get bigger jobs. I was never a big Victoria's Secret model on the runway because I didn't sleep with anybody.
I mean, I think
Another thing I want you guys to be mindful of is that they were not saved. Okay, she is not. She was not a Christian. She claims to be Christian now, but I think she's Catholic. You know, the whole Catholic thing. But they were not saved, of course. So her boyfriend. She said that her boyfriend back then, who was her fiance, actually back then, was taking the drugs and so on. So they were not saved, right? So yes, he was, doing drugs, but his presence there as her fiance was a form of protection for her so that she did not get, pulled on, to go sleep with the monsters. Yeah, just saying. That's how that worked.
looking into that world, people are asking, what did you want? Where's the free will, all the choices and things like this? You're chasing fame. You're hungry as a model, and you're in a room with people that you find out down the road are monsters, but those are the people that can make things happen. That's the difference between, small time and catapulting to success. Now, did you feel like you were in a certain group of individual who started to see the true intentions of what having girls like you and models around for these individuals were? Obviously, you've talked about these hidden rooms and girls that sleep with these individuals. You weren't part of that scene, and did you find that it made them try harder, or did it make them back off when you were?
No, they tried harder, and the men were also trying with me. Like when and then there was a point where I wasn't with my fiance anymore, and I was at these events without him, and all his friends were hitting on me, and they were trying to drug my drink. They were trying to push me into having sex with them, and they said, well, you're not with your fiance anymore, what's the problem? I said, no, I'm not interested. I know exactly what they're doing. This is how the operation works. How the operation works is you become their sex slave until you're old. After 30, you're old. After 25, you're actually old. That's what they do. You become their sex slave. They're looking for like wives to be their sex slaves to participate in group sex.
It's the classic.
No, then you have to participate in group sex.
Okay.
So a lot of my friends that were in with these men had to participate in group sex.
Which is exactly what we've heard coming out of the Diddy case being reported on. It's exactly what we heard about the lore and rumors behind what goes on in the island and Epstein and these elites.
If you're not participating or you're not going to these parties, you don't work. You're not working.
Oh my God.
You can't work. You're not relevant. So you have to go. You have to participate. And when I was there and I saw all the women participating and defecating on the tables with a famous photographer, shooting them underneath the glass tables while they're defecating so they can stay relevant and have their jobs.
What?
That's how that operation works.
Yeah, it's the
Pause, guys. Sorry. mature audiences only here, but this is the second time that we're hearing about this defecation. It's a ritual, okay? It's part of the Thelemic religion, the sex magic for extremely rich billionaires and so on and so forth, defecating rituals, and they get off on that. So sorry, I'm not trying to be graphic, but that is, that the point of this whole thing is that this is what's going on in the modeling industry with these girls, and a lot of these girls are underage. This is an occultic, thing that's going on. It's not, it's not pure, and I don't want, when I was coming up in church, a lot of parents at that time were, you know, finding it, or thought that it was a good thing for their to push their children into music, into modeling, into, acting, and so on, at sports, and things like that, to go pro in sports, or to go into these industries, right? In order to quote unquote change the industry. Your kids are not going to change the industry, because that it's a satanic industry. You know we can create our own. That's the best thing, is to create your own. But your kids are not going to change that industry. That industry is corrupt from the roots, and it's so deeply rooted, and so so massive that don't send your kids into that. If anything, start your own thing.
The shaming and the what can we do drunk with power mindset of these evil individuals. It's frightening. Anything you want to throw over to Barb at this point, Sean? Any questions?
Yeah, Barbara. I mean, the viewers are just absolutely amazed.
I have got a narrative, so don't jump too quick into the viewer stuff. It was just in case there was any points you wanted to expand on there, because I want to go through some points here. I don't want to derail it. So just bear with us, side chat, bear with us.
So the viewers are absolutely amazed by your testimony, Barbara, and you're a really powerful speaker. Now, you're talking about all these women at these parties and stuff. What Maxwell's in jail for, and what was alleged against Epstein, was that minors were involved. Would they have hidden that, or would they have had minors in open sight?
No, they were there. There were young girls there. I know. I saw young girls there, definitely under 16. Definitely. Listen, after you're old after the age of 18 for Epstein. We all knew that. Everybody knew that. You're too old after 18. They just have these side women, like models like Giselle and all these girls, is like the front. Like they're the front, for they have like their girlfriends, but they also have like, side younger girls, like 15, 14-year-olds. So I'm just basically like the side piece. I'm just showing them that they have a girlfriend and I'm the beautiful model. And then on the side, they have the young ones that they, have sex with.
So are they protected by the local authorities because they're so wealthy? I mean, when Maria Farmer told us her story, she went through some horrific things, and she called the cops. And the cops said, well, our deputies are already out there. They're protecting the premises. They're like bodyguarding the premises. That was for Wexner. So is there a relationship with the local authorities so that these guys can get away with these things?
Yes, in New York. In New York, yes. Wow. New York is very corrupt, as we know. New York, listen, everything's run by money. If you pay people off, they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. What do they care?
And what about Naomi Campbell? We've heard so many stories about her. Weinstein. She just appears everywhere.
She is everywhere. She actually has an island.
And have you been to the island? Have you been to it?
No, but I've been invited. So my agency wanted me to do a Pirelli calendar. It's called Pirelli. Do you know
Okay.
the brand? It's a very exclusive brand, Pirelli. All the big models did it, Naomi, all these big models. But what I've heard, what happens is when there's an up and coming girl like myself that is not an established model like Naomi, I was like on the up and coming. I said, I am not doing that calendar because once you get on that boat and you're stuck on that boat for a week, who knows what in the world they're going to do for you, to you. I was on a job with Georgina and some other top models in the early 2000s. We were shooting for Harper's Bazaar. We were shooting with who was I forgot the photographer. He was disgusting. They sent me home because I didn't participate and do cocaine. I was a very young girl. And since I didn't participate and do cocaine, they sent me home. So it was things like that that I had to deal with.
Did you hear any stories about Naomi's Island?
Yes. So Naomi Campbell is also Diddy's, she's the godfather to all his children. And my friend was human trafficked by a Naomi Campbell. I had to go rescue my friend many, many times in New York City at her apartment at 5, 6 in the morning. When I went to rescue my friend, Naomi and my girlfriend would have needles stuck all on their necks because an acupuncturist would come to her house at 5 in the morning after partying all night at these parties that they would have in New York, and they would fix her lymph glands because when you're doing a lot of drugs, your lymph glands get they get clogged. So she always has her lymph glands full of acupuncture so that she can feel better the next day. And they were both on IVs. And when you walked in her apartment, she has this candle that I'll never forget. It's a Deptyque candle. It's the dark one. And she has like 200 all lit up, all in her apartment. And it's the black one, the black Deptyque candle. It's that fragrance. And she has them all lit up like it's some seance. So when I went there to rescue my friend, I said, what is going on here? And my friend goes, oh, we were up all night partying. We're just like trying to feel, better. So I would talk to my girlfriend and I'm like, what happened? And she's like, we were partying all night. And Naomi would bring her along to these parties and having sex with these men.
I mean, it's a lot
And
to
I've
hear,
got,
a lot to take
I've
in.
got, and so Naomi and I started off on the wrong foot. So then when I saw Naomi at Cipriani's, downtown, where that was a spot for us all to hang, like Epstein and all these people were always at Cipriani's. There was a bar upstairs, which you had to be invited to. If you're an elite, that's where everybody goes. Like Harvey Weinstein, everybody was there. She was in the bathroom and I came out of the bathroom and she goes, oh, it's you. And I said, what are you going to do? She goes, I just signed a big book deal with Oprah Winfrey. What are you going to do? She was so high on cocaine, she didn't even know what she was talking about. And then she was starting to get in my face. I said, please get out of my face. I don't want to start anything with you right now.
Oh my God.
It was always stuff like that.
Okay. Like when you talk about the seance and the candles.
So Naomi Campbell apparently or allegedly has been a gatekeeper in the modeling industry for these young girls, and very closely connected, with Diddy. As she said, she was the or is the she used the word godfather to his children. So that shocked me. I was like, wow, godfather, like not godmother, but godfather. And yeah, so basically, there are handlers and gatekeepers, kind of like, Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly was the handler or, the handler for Jeffrey Epstein, and the recruiter in order to get the girls in and, get them, groom them, right? Help them get groomed for the monsters.
Was there ever an element of, dark paths with some of these individuals with occultist undertones, shall we say? Did you ever was there rumors of anything that just sounded too odd to be true?
Well, yes. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like when I was in San Tropez, I saw Sean Combs on his boat, um, holding an animal's head on the front of his boat, screaming, I am God, I am God." And when he was going out in San Tropez, he was always showing his uh, dark these dark things with the goat head or whatever animal he had on his boat. I mean, there's all kinds of weird things we would always see.
And is it just this like given factor that the girls, right, like yourself, the models on these yachts, I mean, are you guys, is it just a given that you're all going to stay quiet? Because it must be terrifying knowing not just what someone can do to you on a boat, but a billionaire, somebody who's got police in their pocket, the elites of the world. It adds a level that I don't think any of us will ever experience truly what that feels like. I mean, it must be, there must be a lot of secrets in the minds of terrified individuals right now, ladies, women especially.
That's the thing. It's like a slow buildup. It's not like so a matter of fact as you think. You want to be in the elite group. You want to be in the upper group, so you can go to events. You can be your name, your brand is still relevant. You want to be relevant. So these girls, these models, they think that they have to go to these events and do things with these men so they could be famous and rich. They don't have parents like what I had to show you have discernment. You're using discernment for anything that you do. These women are broken. A lot of these women, I'm Eastern European, so I was talking in Bulgarian to some of these girls, or Russian or Czechoslovakian. I could understand them, and they would tell me things that they would go on these islands and they would get their apartments paid for, and they would be with these agencies that would give them visas, and they were never even working. I said, "How did you get all this money? I don't understand." And they said they have a boyfriend that pays for them.
Yeah.
So when you're in the industry, you know who's working. There's only 5% of us that make a living. I was making well over $1 million a year. Every year, I was very successful. That was because I was doing catalogs and doing these advertisement jobs. And at the beginning, I was doing all editorial, such as Elle Magazine, doing all the fashion shows, so that you become, you create your portfolio, so you become, a supermodel. That's what you're thinking. That's what you're working for, to become a supermodel. So they say, you're going to be a supermodel. You have to do these things.
So, Barbara, when we're talking numbers like that, right, people hear that, and that's a lot of money. But what's the difference between what you were getting paid, $1 million a year, great money? If you'd sold out and went down the dark path, the money would have been 100 times folded, right?
I would have not been able to walk down the street. I would have been super rich, super famous. Yes,
so
yes.
Even at $1 million a year, we're talking like that is a 1% of what you could have been, even though it's a lot of money, right? It's the world you're in. When we're talking about multi-trillion dollar brands and enterprises, $1 million sounds great, but it's a sliver of what could have been if you'd sold out. And
sorry guys, I just want to
you were still a powerful brand. Did you feel like your career got to a point where you felt like you were being promised and promised and promised, and because you wouldn't break your code of honor, they just couldn't get what they wanted from you? And you'd mentioned instances where you noticed your drink may have been tampered with and things like this. How prevalent and how noticeable were the effects of those tactics on other girls around you during this time?
So when we would go out to the nightclubs, my friends owned the nightclubs. So they would have tables, and they would call them the model tables. They would have actors, musicians, at these events. And so they would have these model tables with the actors, musicians, and they would hide and bottles on the other side. So you pretty much knew which bottles were yours. I didn't really drink that much when I was out because I had to work the next day. But when you're out and about, you know which drinks to take and which drinks not to take. So a lot of these models would drink the terrible drinks and then they would end up annihilated and going to these after parties and basically getting blackmailed.
Yeah, and it's such
And
a
the,
repeat. It's such a
and the
repeating set of tactics that we've heard in so many cases, Barbara. The blackmail, the abuse, the coercion, the grooming, the promises of stardom, all of it, and it's
and so
scary
the,
to think what could have
and
happened.
they would watch you. So I was with the guys that were trying to get the girls, and they would watch them get annihilated and bring them after parties. And that's when they would all go.
You broke up a
They would
tiny.
all go to the after party.
You broke up a little tiny bit there,
That's when
Barbara.
they would. That's when they would annihilate you with the drinks, and they get the models, and then we go to the after party to Epstein's condo or like a music party. All these.
Okay. So you're in the club. They cast out their net of drinks. Those who get caught in the net are the ones that are ushered back to the after parties and things like this. That is a scarily grim tactic.
Yes, it happened to me one time. Yes, and that's why I stopped drinking after that.
Yeah, that's scary. And for anyone that's going through something like that, it must be terrifying. And you spoke earlier, right, about your connections with an individual during your modeling time that was connected to the Diddy case. Could you talk a little bit about your experiences with that individual, if you can? I don't know if you can.
Which one?
Cassie.
Oh yes. Okay. So Cassie and I modeled together from 2000, I think maybe 4, 5 until, let's say, maybe 8, maybe 2008. We would travel to. We would work in Texas together. We worked for J.C. Penney's and Neiman Marcus. So when we would work together,
Everybody in Texas. Everybody.
she and I exchanged phone numbers. We hung out together. After the jobs, we would go shopping together. We would go eat together. So we became friends. Her mom would show up on the jobs with her as well when she was traveling, because we were both very young at the time. And so we exchanged numbers. We became friends. And then around 2009, I told her I'm in Miami. I wanted to connect with her and go to an event. And she said, well, listen, Barbara, I'm not modeling anymore. I'm doing the music thing. And Sean doesn't want me to speak to anyone right now, like going out and having fun. It's not on my radar. I have to focus on music. So I can't really hang out anymore like I used to. I said, well, that's too bad. And Cassie lived on 33rd Street and Park. And at the time I lived on 34th and Park. So we would go back and forth all the time and hang out in New York together as well. I think also that she moved out of that apartment and then moved into one of Sean's apartments in New York. I don't know where his apartment was, but she and I were close. We were friends, and I also reached out to her 2011 to tell her, I got married, and she said, "That's amazing, congratulations." And then in 2017, I reached out to her again because I was seeing some weird things, like she had some sort of black eye. I don't know. People were talking, and I said, "Is everything okay?" And I didn't receive anything back on Instagram. So I just figured she is not in contact
Yeah.
anymore.
Now, her course of action where she said that she's stepping away from the modeling, did you feel like that was her stepping away from her freedom and friendship? And that
Yes.
sort of that course of action, that pattern of behavior, was that something you started noticing more and more within your circle of friends and individuals in the industry? And if so, that must have been, over time quite isolating for you. If you're the only one left, metaphorically speaking. How many people did you see pair off like that with someone? I mean, it must have been a lot.
Yes. Well, with that type of situation, whenever you're in the industry, you have to stay relevant, and you want to be in these events, and you want to be in these places, but you see things and you experience things that you don't want to see or do, but you have to be there.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. You really don't have a choice. And if you stop going to these events and these parties, you're not relevant anymore, and you're not able to work.
Okay.
I was very happy. I was very happy actually for Cassie when she told me that she's not going to model anymore and she was going to continue the music path. I was very happy for her. There's, why continue something if you have a talent for singing? I didn't even know she could sing. She never told me. She never told me she could sing. I don't know how she sings.
Okay, so just going by what Barb has told us already, we've witnessed multiple repeating patterns of behavior, whether it's the parties, the promises, the industry.
Let me skip through a little
And
bit.
when the Black Book originated, it was a staff member who had the Black Book.
Side. Let's talk about the Black Book. Let's talk about the types of people that are in there and how.
Now we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, or the Epstein's Black Book that they claim did not exist. So I can't really even skip through that much because we'll miss, there's so much, she's exposing everything. So yeah.
And again, if you want to start talking with a little bit of, withholding some names, feel free to do so. But let's just
let me just say as well.
Sure.
So there's a lot of names in the Black Book, and obviously a lot of those people weren't involved in what was alleged. And when the Black Book originated, it was a staff member who had the Black Book, and that staff member circled names that staff member thought were allegedly involved in what Jeffrey was doing. And some names were even double circled for people that staff member thought were way, way, way involved in what Jeffrey was doing. So just to clarify, not everybody in the Black Book is automatically involved in what Jeffrey was doing.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And listen, a lot of these people in the Black Book, I'm just telling you the people I saw at these parties that are in the Black Book.
Yeah. We're not saying everyone in the Black Book is a rascal, but there is a massive portion of scallywags that we're going to group together, right? And then you can just assume your name is not in that circle of scallywags. If you are sadly in it, because when that got published, I phoned a bunch of numbers on it, and nobody was happy to hear from me, Sean.
Let me give you an interesting take. Okay. I was with this agency, Women Models. Okay, they had Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss, all the top girls. They were pimping us out big time. So I have never had any plastic surgery at all. I've never touched my face or my body. I don't do filler. I used to do Botox. I stopped doing it, but I'm not into this plastic surgery, just to let you know. So my agent goes to me, the owner of Women. He said, "Hey, have you ever considered getting your nose done?" I said, "Why would I get my nose done? I'm 16, 17 years old. I've made it this far in modeling. I'm signed with your agency, and you want me to go get my nose done?" So I said, "Okay, whatever. I'll go get a consultation." So I go get a consultation with this plastic surgeon. He said, "You do not need a nose job. Tell the owner of Women he's crazy." I said, "Fine." I then see this plastic surgeon at Epstein's condo. And he's on the black book.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that.
Can I ask a
Stuff
really
like,
weird question, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever notice any girls lose their career because of botched nose jobs or botched this or botched that then put them in a position where they're even more desperate now and willing to do things for these people? Was that ever a tactic that you saw
I mean,
displayed?
I saw Janice Dickinson, like, she was completely botched. And then I see her at Cipriani's with 20-year-old models on the countertop, spreading her legs, acting like it's disgusting. Like, yeah, that's a typical one.
Okay.
Typical.
Well, big shout out, Janice. Okay. Even when you're botched, you're still holding it down. So
Still, you know.
let's circle back, right? Because there's a theme to some of these people, and I imagine as the parties dwindle, as it goes from premiere to after party to creepy Diddy party, metaphorically speaking, after party, did you start seeing repeating faces that kept rubbing shoulders with Epstein and all of this whole operation?
Y'all, these women are not lying on Epstein. These alleged victims are not lying. I do not believe they are lying on Epstein. I believe exactly what exactly what she's saying. I believe what Candace Owens has said. I believe all of that. Like this cannot, you know what I mean? These people can't be lying. All these people saying the exact same thing cannot be lying. It's impossible.
Yes. Why are they there? What business does that plastic surgeon have being there? Why is he there? And he's also Naomi Campbell's plastic surgeon.
How prevalent were rumors amongst girls about being used as pawns in blackmail schemes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Could you expand on that, or did you hear any stories?
Well, what do you mean? Like what kind of schemes? I mean, there's all kinds of schemes.
For with the lore of Diddy and the lore of Epstein, there's all of these tapes and surveillance footage that no one's ever seen, and we hear all these rumors about everything's run off blackmail, and wonder, models like you taken to after parties, paired up with a celebrity, a politician, a musician, whatever, and then that footage is used to compromise the person that you were involved with. Was there rumors? Did you ever know anyone that was involved in anything like that? You don't have to name names or anything, but how prevalent was that in your circle within the models, the girls, the trophies that were so chased by these men?
Well, this is the thing. I figured out what's going on. What happens is at the Epstein condo, they invite all the big dogs, the CEOs, the big names, the celebrities, the actors, the models. And then they get the models that are like the ones that are working on visas, and they use them to sleep with the CEOs and the brand names of huge fashion brands. So they get women like me or Giselle or these big Victoria's Secret models. They lure them to the parties, so they're the candy, and then they get the CEO or whoever very drunk, and then they put the young ones on them, like the 15-year-olds, and they make them have sex and they film them, and that's how they blackmail them. They necessarily don't even know what they're doing. They're just getting drunk. And when they're getting drunk, they put something in their drink and then they connect them with the 15-year-old.
Yeah. And let's be honest, when it comes from
I see that a lot. That's what was going on. That's what I saw. So a lot of these men some of them are innocent. And then they're blackmailed and then they're indebted slaves forever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Diddy did also to probably some actors.
Let me just get ahead of the comment section.
Listen, if you're a regular going to these parties, like I've seen the regulars, A few people that I knew, why were they there every single weekend? If you're there one time and you make a mistake and you sleep with the 15-year-old, okay, mistake, you don't go back. You don't drink, you don't do that. But if you keep coming back, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
So Prince Andrew allegedly kept going back, you know. Gosh.
100%.
But
100%.
these men are the problem. If they keep coming back after, if they made a mistake one time, okay, you could say, you know what? I made a mistake. Okay, you own your mistake if you get caught. But if you keep going back over and over and you're at Epstein's plane, his condo, you're going to his island all the time, you're the problem.
Yeah, and let's just put this out there. If you're a guy, you've been lured back and there's an intention to get you in a blackmail situation, you're completely half on another planet. You've been hanging out with two 25-year-old models all night, and then all of a sudden those two models are switched out with two 15-year-olds for the cameras to roll for 10 minutes, and then they're switched back out again. These are tactics used so that you'd wake up in the morning and have no possible recall of anything bad happening. Okay. And I mean, listen, it's you got to understand, we as the regular folk, when we say something in our drink, all of this, we go to where our brain is educated. We've already spoken about the scopamine, right, which is what is used by these individuals to literally control someone's mind.
What is that?
Oh, listen, that's it's a naturally occurring toxin.
I mean, maybe that's what was in my drink when I got.
Well, it's usually breathed or blown onto someone, right? Because it's very easy to unalive somebody by accident with it. But effectively, if you're under the influence of that, I could say, Barbara, can you go and empty your bank account and get me all your Birkins? And you would go, no problem. And off you would go and you would do it. So imagine that in a human transportation or an island or an Epstein scenario for blackmail, for coercion, for all of that. It's terrifying. And it's the real deal. And
he said they blow it in your face. They blow it in your face. That made me think like that's just sheer witchcraft, you know. I've seen that, you know, before in certain like African culture films and so on and so forth, Congolese and things like that, where the witch doctor blows this potion or this powder in someone's face, and you know the person goes mad. So yeah, that's real. And also he talked about he mentioned Birkin and I wanted to just use that as an opportunity to say join me here tomorrow night, because we are going to be diving into the luxury industry. We're going to be talking about the luxury industry tomorrow, a look behind these brands, a lot of these brands, you know, that are of biblical, descent, their history, you know, and so on, the history behind the name and everything. And yeah, we're going to be talking about these luxury brands, which ones are occultic, which ones are not. Are you investing into witchcraft? So we'll be looking at that tomorrow. So yeah, join me here tomorrow as well.
For you to have this knowledge, there's going to be people who are saying, oh, well, you know, you knew about it, you should have done something. What was the fear like of the reality of a model taking it all down? Do you know what I'm saying? It's an impossibility. You are expendable, you are replaceable, you are not the first one. And this is decades old of women like you seeing things and keeping stum. Because it must be a terrifying concept to think.
Listen, Ron, I couldn't even say which political party I wanted to vote for. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, all my years in New York, I could never say, I'm from Texas, okay, so you could imagine. I could never talk about that.
Yeah.
I could never. I would be banned even from that. You are owned. You are owned. You cannot talk about anything.
And
So that's why all these celebrities are on the same team. All of Hollywood on the same team in terms of political views, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. And if anyone steps out of line, they're punished. So, like she said, they own you.
with that, we often talk about conditioning when it comes to abusive individuals. And this sounds like a culture of conditioning that we're
Yes.
talking about here.
I became also like a people pleaser from it, because I was always like, what can I do to please that person? What can I do to make that person like me more as a model?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I had to say, oh, what can I do to make that? You start thinking, and then the girls that are young and they don't have like normal parents, they're gonna sleep with the guys to get them to like them. They're gonna do whatever they need to. So with that mindset, and I had a healthy mindset, I was even thinking that way. What can I do so they will like me more?
Mm.
And in my head, I'm like, well, I can't sleep. I'm never going to do that.
So during,
So you're always, my agency made me fly back. I left a job and flew back to Texas because the photographer was inappropriate with me, and they made me come back. They said, if you don't come back, we're going to drop you. They told me that.
Oh, demonic. Okay.
how prevalent was when you were at these parties seeing Epstein? Was Maxwell always with him? Was it always joined at the hip, or how much of a run-in did you have with Maxwell?
You know what? I could have seen her, but I probably didn't pay attention because she's so ugly. I only notice like beautiful women. She's so ugly. She's irrelevant. I wouldn't notice her there. I wouldn't notice her. She's not a beautiful person. I notice beautiful people. I remember beautiful people.
Wow.
Yeah, same. And
She's irrelevant.
it's a bold statement, but I'm here for it. Okay, so Sean, any further questions up to this point that you want to throw over to Barbara before I sort of segue us into the next part?
Yeah, I've got several. So, you touched on an important point earlier about these guys kept going back. And I think one of the most maddening things about Prince Andrew's story is not only did he keep going back, he went back after Jeffrey had his first conviction, and his security detail would have briefed him about that, and he would have overrode their advice to go back. So my question for you, Barbara, is did you ever see, or were you ever aware of royalty at any of these parties?
Oh yeah, Prince Andrew was two of my friends that were models. He was paying for their apartment in New York. They were 20, 21 years old. Yeah, they were sleeping with him. Eastern European. Because I asked them, how did you get this apartment? Because I paid for my apartment. I bought my apartment. I lived next door to Chelsea Clinton was my next door neighbor. How come these girls have very expensive buildings and they're not working? And I was making $1 million a year, and they have better apartments than I do. Why is that? Because he was supplying their apartments.
My God.
Paying for he was at Epstein's. I've seen him there.
Oh, someone called Paula M.
He was
So
there.
you've got the allegations by Virginia that Andrew paid a huge settlement for, but to this day he's denying even knowing her and saying that the photo of his arm around her is fake, or he doesn't remember it. Do you think that's preposterous?
Preposterous. If he was paying for those two models, how many other models was he paying for? Yeah. Check their bank.
You mentioned him paying for models that were from Eastern Europe then,
and that lady on the bottom there, or that lady, the girl in the picture, and the picture at the bottom, that's the girl, the young girl there with Prince Andrew. That's her grown up as an adult. And she was exposing, she was telling the truth about Epstein, about Prince Andrew, and what happened to her, and they unalived her. So she recently, I think, I think it was this year, a few months ago, that someone took her out. So this is no joke, guys. It's very, very, very dangerous out here. It's very
Second
dangerous.
procurer in charge after Ghislaine Maxwell was Jean-Luc Brunel, who had his own modeling agency.
Yep.
Did you hear about him at the time?
Yeah, he was my agent
Wow.
when I was with Elite Models. Hmm.
Wow.
I know
'Cause he-
Jean-Luc. I know Jean-Luc very well. He knows me too.
Yeah, and so you're suspicious about how he died? Exactly the same method as Jeffrey?
I think maybe they just probably killed him to shut him up.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
He's nothing. He's just garbage. He's just he's a nothing. Like, so they opened up an agency together. Epstein invested into MC2 Models, and I know a lot of the girls that were with that agency, and those, and I think maybe both of them were with Prince Andrew.
And did you get bad vibes from Jean-Luc, or was he a normal
Yes.
person?
No, he's disgusting. We all knew it. We all knew it. They would give the models bags of cocaine to stay skinny. So they would, work and stay skinny. Mm-hmm.
And what other stories did you hear about him? I mean, you could say anything you want because he's
Okay.
not,
So Jean-Luc was a big predator. Jean-Luc would get all the Eastern European girls. He would pimp them out to all the CEOs of all the name brands. He would take them on trips, pay for them, for their fashion, for their outfits. He would get them apartments. They had a model's apartment that they would all stay in, 10 women in one apartment, all crammed in. It was actually disgusting. And so I was looking into starting my own agency, my own modeling agency. I asked 2 of my agents in London to invest with me, and they said, Barbara, you're very ballsy for starting this. I said, I could take all the Eastern European girls and I can make them rich by working. And I said, these women are being trafficked. I know they are being trafficked by these men. So I was planning to start my own modeling agency and help save these girls, because they would tell me in our language what was going on.
So one of the allegations that Virginia made that's not picked up very readily by mainstream media was the allegation of what happened on the island, whereby there was a sex party involving Prince Andrew, Jean-Luc Brunel, Maxwell, Epstein, and a bunch of East European girls, and that Jean-Luc and Epstein and Andrew were joking. They were the easiest ones to do these things to because they didn't speak any English.
I know. It's true. I mean, look, can you imagine taking your models from your agency, whipping them down on your jet straight to the island, giving them some cocktails? Oh, hello, welcome to you get a cocktail and you have your beautiful Chanel bag and you could stay all weekend. Then they drug you and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so what you're saying really corroborates what Virginia said.
Yeah. That's what they do. That's why they open the agency, so they're not traced, because they're in a modeling agency. So the girls, they get them visas. They get the girls visas. They're not accounted for. They're missing.
Which was my next question. The pipeline Jean-Luc Brunel had bringing the girls in from East Europe,
Yes.
their visas were fast tracked through their connections at the government.
Yes, and I have to get visas to work in Europe, and that's also fast-tracked. They have connections. It's very connected. It's very interconnected. These women are not accounted for. Look, what are you going to do? Go to the parents in Ukraine and Kiev and say, oh, where is your daughter? I don't know. She was modeling and somehow she disappeared. That's it. You're over. You're done. You're toast. And Jean-Luc does not care. He doesn't care. He's Epstein's pimp for the models. He's Epstein's pimp.
Barbara, did you actually hear of girls who disappeared or OD'd or anything like that?
So there was a girl, she was Eastern European. She jumped out of a building in New York.
My God.
She jumped out of a building because of the shame she felt. I know a lot of girls that go missing all the time. We always heard girls missing. We haven't even gotten into the boys yet.
So there's another character I want to get to then that was above Brunel, and that is Wexner, who owned the Limited, Victoria's Secrets, etc. Did you guys hear about Wexner during those days?
Oh, yes. What do you mean? He's the head boss.
Mm.
He's the boss of the whole fashion industry. If you get in with Victoria's Secret, you're in with Banana Republic. You're in with Express. You're in with Bath and Body Works. Those are all big jobs. And once you're in, because I was in with Victoria's Secret, so I worked with Express and all these big names. If I become a problem, I start becoming a problem, they won't book me anymore. So a lot of these girls, they would say, oh, you could be a model like her and work for Victoria's Secret. You want to come on my island? That's what they do.
So researchers like Ryan Dawson and Whitney Webb have alleged that Wexner was involved with intelligence.
You know who these big dogs are. You know that they have a higher up in the industry. And the agencies know this too. They work with them. Jeffrey Epstein would call my agency to get set up on dates with the models.
Yeah, Wexner was the person I was referring to earlier on when Maria Farmer told us she was at the property and things happened to her and she called the cops and the cops were like, hey, we're already out there guarding the property. There's nothing we can do for you. And she was just trapped in the Wexner property. But it seems that he's at this level whereby he's so wealthy, he's in this untouchable class of people with Bill Clinton, etc., where nothing ever happens to these people.
I think that he might be one of part of one of the the occult bloodline families, mafia families that we've been talking about. These occult satanic bloodline families, Illuminati bloodline families. I think he might be on that list.
I think it's so intertwined and it's so affiliated with politics. It is much bigger than we can ever imagine. This is maybe just the surface. I'm trying to connect the dots to the bigger, to who's above them. Who is making these orders? Who is telling these agencies to get these models to come to the parties? Why? What is the reason? Why do they want to blackmail all these people?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a bigger picture.
Yep, there's a bigger picture because they are Satanists. They are running satanic rituals in order, like Nathan Reynolds said, they believe that their families or their bloodlines are direct, the Illuminati bloodline families, that they are direct descendants of the Nephilim, direct descendants of the Nephilim. That's why everyone that they bring into the Illuminati has to be approved, so to speak, or has to be initiated by satanic, ritual sacrifice in order to become part of the Illuminati, because they have to graft you in, so to speak. They have to graft you into that wicked bloodline, if you're not already part of it by blood, and that's why that's why they have to, you have to be vetted at every level, you know what I'm saying? And you have to climb your way through the ranks. You have to make it all the way to the top, through these rituals. And a lot of it, you know, like we've been talking about, the Lima, sex magic, all kinds of witchcraft going on. So it is pathetic. It is sickening.
We interviewed Ari Ben Menashe, who was former Israeli military intelligence, and he said that Israel was one of the prime movers behind the Epstein operation. It would involve the CIA as well, and that the Wexner property. You're asked about Jeffrey's relationship with Wexner, and people wonder where Jeffrey's wealth came from. Well, the property in New York was given to him by Wexner. It had the cameras pre-fitted, and we've spoke to survivors who, one survivor, one of the Epstein properties, ended up in the control room looking at all of the screens where all these videos were getting recorded. But what Ari Ben Menashe said was they were looking to have leverage over the titans of industry, politicians, royal family members. Prince Andrew was a big catch for them. And these honey trap operations, have been around for decades, and they continue to this day. And that's what Ari told us the motive was.
You know what it also is, this is really sad to me, because if you take like a man, okay, let's say Prince Andrew, right? Okay, he's kind of like probably like he likes young girls, has sex, but then you just kind of like, you make it to where they can do those things. It's kind of like a fantasy, and you represent it to them and you say, look, you could come on this island, you can have all the women and this and that. I mean, they're literally blackmailing you, and you fall for it. You're an idiot. You're stupid.
He said honey trap. I just want to quickly explain what that means. If we look here, it's a covert technique used in intelligence operations. Y'all can't see that. Let me make it bigger. Uh-oh. Honey trap. Operation honey trap is what we're talking about. It is a covert technique used in intelligence operations involving the use of seduction or sexual appeal to extract information, gain leverage, or manipulate individuals for various purposes. The term honey trap often conjures up images of spies, espionage, and high stakes undercover operations. And when you go here to Wikipedia, um, this is what we find. It says honey trap is a practice involving the use of romantic or sexual relationships for interpersonal, political, deep state, including state espionage or monetary purpose. The honeypot or trap involves making contact with an individual who has information or resources required by a group or individual. The trapper will then try to seek to entice the target into a false relationship, which may or may not include actual physical involvement, in which they can glean information or influence over the target. So this is actually going on, behind the scenes as well. Espionage, right? And this little poster over here was a depiction from a poster from World War II, depicting an attractive woman speaking to a Royal Air Force sergeant. The woman may be a spy, and it says, "Keep mum, she's not dumb." So it's saying, don't be careless with your talk. To these royals, to these, high profile people, don't be careless when you're talking to these young women, these attractive women, these models, etc., because they could be spies. So this is, this is high stakes stuff, guys. It is really, really no joke. It's really no joke. Oh, sorry.
myself. I could have been a big actress. I could have been a supermodel. Yeah, I could have, but I just didn't take those steps because I knew what it would involve. I knew that I would have to be their forever slave. If I did those things, I could be kicked out as soon as I'm 30 years old. I'm washed up and old. It's over. My time is done. They're going to go to the next one.
Yeah.
And then you
Use you
have
and
to
kill
live with
you.
that for the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah,
And
Juliet.
especially, and like those, and especially men, like, okay, like what Diddy did to these actors. Like, you take somebody like Ashton Kutcher. We know he was at the parties. We've seen him. We've seen him in the videos.
The parties.
Maybe he was blackmailed one time and then maybe he ended up liking it and kept going. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So these parties are not just, just for fun. These parties are backdoor business deals, backdoor espionage, blackmail going on. Seriously.
as a model, I was in that crossroad, in that pivotal crossroad where I had to make the decision, am I going to be staying a good person or am I going to, go move forward ahead and be not sleep at night. I want to sleep at night, you know.
I'm interested in politicians as well who are involved. And if you look at the flight logs, there's a couple of dozen entries of Bill Clinton. He's not got his security detail on the flight log. He's just got a bunch of names that sound like East European girls' names. So what would your interpretation of that be?
Okay. So I went out with one of my best friends who was human trafficked. She's no longer here. One of our friends at the time was 25 years old. She was working for Bill Clinton. She worked for the Clinton Foundation. She was also dating a gentleman that was always around Diddy, always around on the scene. He was always around Leo. His name starts with the R, ends with the E. He was very prevalent everywhere. I don't know if he was like works for the government. I don't know, but she was dating him. And she was 25 at the time. And we were trying to research his age. He was maybe around 56, 57 at the time. We went on his private jet to Las Vegas to go visit Michael Jackson. And then we went to his house in La Jolla. She was working for Clinton. And I told her I just bought an apartment in New York and my next door neighbor was his daughter. So every time I was in New York working, because I was traveling to London and Paris, I knocked on their door. I said, whenever your dad's visiting, I want to have a chat with him because I wanted to talk to him because my friend worked for him. So there was a lot of dodgy business with that, in that scene. But my friend that worked for Bill said that Bill was always out and always around and always going to the parties. I never saw him at Epstein's, but my friend worked for him and she dated his close friend that is also compromised.
Did you ever see the art of Bill in the blue dress in Epstein's property?
I didn't see that. I wasn't looking for it.
With hindsight,
This is a real painting, guys. A real painting or uh, image. It's probably from a photo that is in Epstein's real home in New York, in his apartment in New York City. So this was a painting taken from an image that was of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. It's who makes that up? Like who does that?
then looking at it now, I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
Yeah.
Is that some kind of trophy that Epstein would have commissioned?
I think it's blackmail. I think he's like looking at you and saying, if you say anything, it's over for you. That's just me. That's just my take.
So do you get the impression that the Clintons are pretty corrupt?
Yeah, I mean, yes. It's, if I have to use my brain, yes.
Yeah, because remember the Clintons that's one of the names that's in the book Bloodlines of the Illuminati. So that is an actual they are actually of the original Illuminati bloodlines. They were not grafted in. They are part of the real Illuminati bloodlines. And like I said, they believe that they are the superior race, the superior oligarchs, of the direct lineage of the Nephilim. And therefore, that gives them the right to rule every other race and to rule the world, basically. So it is, that's what that is.
Yes.
Ronnie.
There's nothing positive I've seen. I don't know. Everything's negative.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to.
He's a charming guy. He's charming. I mean, he's good looking. He's charming. Yeah, I mean, I could see why women liked him. You know.
All right. So listen, everybody. Can we at this stage? Can we like? Can we share?
Where's his parents? This goes because I want to know what's going on too. I want to know I want to know who's calling the shots. What kind of affiliation is this? Because it's very big. It's all connected. It's all connected.
I think she's talking about Bieber. I think they're talking about Justin Bieber right now.
To actors, models, entertainment, sports, politicians, the government. I mean, it's all, in the end, it's all blackmail.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. It's blackmail, using people to get what you want. It's disgusting.
Oh.
It's disgusting.
Mm.
And if you don't have parents that teach you these things in life, these parents want to be rich and famous too. So they exploit their children to be rich and famous.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about their kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's disgusting. Like, I mean, look at Justin Bieber, for instance. Where's his parents? I mean, I have stories about him too.
Oh my God.
I mean,
well, let's expand on them then, please.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of us invested in throughout the Diddy case, was just how horrific we felt the Justin Bieber story within the Diddy sphere was. This young man almost looked like he was given over by his parents, power of attorney, all of this. Touch a little bit about what you know about Bieber, if you don't mind, Barbara.
Okay, well, with Justin Bieber, I met Justin Bieber backstage at the Drake concert. I ended up backstage. My friends are in the music industry, so I said, "Hey guys, let's go get something to drink." So we go backstage. I get something to drink. My friends ended up on the other side of the backstage. I ended up by myself at the bar getting a drink, and then Drake goes, "Hey, it's prayer circle time." So this boy in a beanie grabbed my hand. He goes, "Hey, it's circle time." So I end up in prayer circle time with Drake, holding hands in a circle. And this guy grabs my hand next to me and says, "Okay, we're going to pray now." So I pray, and we do the little circle. After we finish praying, I look over to my right, and it's this short little guy with the beanie. And he goes, "Oh, you want to go grab that drink?" I said, "Yeah." So we go grab the drink, and I finally figured out it's Justin Bieber. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I grab a drink with him, and I said, "I'm here with my friends, and I'm engaged. I'm not interested." And that was my story with him, how I met him. But I saw Justin out at nightclubs in New York. I saw him out in LA, but he was always with like a big group. Like a big group of like guys, girls. When I saw him, he was with Kelly Osbourne, and I think it was like Paris Hilton. It was like that kind of group. It was in Los Angeles. I had a friend that told me when he was in Canada after his show, they were planning to leave Canada to Los Angeles on a private jet, and it was taking off at 7 a.m. in the morning. So her nieces and nephews went to go see Justin Bieber perform the night before, and they got backstage, and Justin goes, "Hey, where are you from?" They go, "We're from LA." He goes, "Oh, are you going back?" And they go, "Yeah, you could just jump on our jet back tomorrow morning. We're leaving at 6, 7 a.m. So Justin goes, "Fine, I'll meet you there." So they go there. They're running a little bit early. They go show up early, and they get on their plane, and Justin Bieber is there sucking a
Oh,
black
oh,
man's cock.
oh my gosh. Sorry, I did not know she was going to say that. Mm. Whew, God, have mercy. Have mercy. I apologize, guys. I did not know that she was about to say that. So I don't know how, I can't go back because it's already out there. But yeah, like I said, mature audiences only. This content is not suitable for children. Um, However, we are examining the horrors that are taking place in the modeling industry, the entertainment industry, and so on. These children are being abused. These children are being seriously abused, and it just really goes to show, how people in the world, they try to really throw dirt on Christianity. They try to really throw dirt on Jesus and make it like, what I'm saying, like they're the good people and we're the bad people. We're judgmental, we're condemning, we're this and we're that, just because we're telling them the truth, and we're telling you right from wrong, right? We're trying to, win souls. We're trying to save souls from stuff like this, right? But if you compare our God to your God, come on, if you compare Jesus to their God, right? If you compare Jesus to Baal, Jesus said you cannot serve two masters. He did not say three, four, five, or six. He said two. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and mammon. So there's only two gods of this world. There's the God of this world, which is Satan, Lucifer, and he is the God of mammon, unrighteous mammon, and there is the true and living God, Jehovah, who is known as Yahweh, Jesus, Yeshua. Amen. So I mean, it's just as plain as that. Black and white. There's no gray area. It is black and white. It is black and white. Which one are you going to choose? Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to get on the winning team with Jesus? Are you going to get on the winning team with the truth? Or are you going to get or stay on the losing team and go to hell? Because that's exactly where the devil is driving these people, straight to hell, destroying their children, These people are making their children pass through the fire. That's what this looks like. Making their children pass through the fire, biblical, right? Sending your children through these occult sex sex rings, pedophilic trafficking rings, rituals, and all this kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So that they can make money, so that you can make money off of them. I'm talking to the parent, talking about the parents of these children that are giving their children over to this demonic, wicked system and making your children pass through the fire as a sacrifice in exchange for money. Because believe you me, these elites are and these high profile people and these handlers and so on, they are paying these parents to turn their children over. That's the only reason Justin Bieber's mother did what she did. His parents did what they did. And he's just one needle in a haystack. There are so many of them. Just look at Disney, just look at Nickelodeon, just look at what I mean, all the ones that started out small at that age, And then they turned them out, they pimped them out, what I'm saying? They took advantage of them. They took advantage of them. And so many of these, I'm sorry, like I just want to cry. I'm very passionate about this. I don't know why. It's just something that's been a burden on my heart for so long. And it's because when you look at these celebrities, when they come out, on the other side, after this machine chews them up and spits them out, come on, after these demons chew them up and spit them out, then they come out on the other side, telling the truth. No, that those producers on Nickelodeon, they were pedophiles. They abused me. They molested me. They did this, they did that. They got me hooked on drugs. I was taking cocaine. And then you see these young people, young so-called celebrities, right? Strung out on drugs, in and out of jail, in and out of court, so on and so forth. And you wonder why. And the beast makes you think that they just have an addiction, it's their fault. You know what I'm saying? They got hooked on crack. They got, they got, what I'm saying? They got all that on their own. They were sneaking around. No, you were feeding it to them. You were feeding it to them like candy to get them to manipulate them into any kind of ungodly position that you wanted, just to take advantage of them. This system is coming down. This system is coming down. Hollywood, deep state, all you bloodline demons, Nephilim demons, occult demons, satanic monsters. Your world is crashing down. Your world is crashing down. And God is crashing it. That God is crashing it. You're going to know one way or another that there is a God in Israel. There is a God in Israel.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So they turned around. She got on the plane first, and before the children got on there, she turned around. She goes, "Okay, we're going back down to the car now. We're going back down to the car now," because she didn't want them to see him doing that.
Yeah.
He was with a black man, some black man. She said,
just no easing us into it, no build up, just straight to the.
It was fellatio. He was giving fellatio.
Saying, you're kind of corroborating that as well.
It was after his concert, so he must have been up all night with whoever it was, and then they took him to the airport. I think they probably dropped him off, and he was giving them fellatio.
So after the concert, he had to do a ritual. That's what that was. He had to do a ritual. These are sex rituals, you guys. This is not just, you know what I mean? It's sex rituals. Sex rituals before the concert, after the concert. Come on. I mean, these are slaves, industry slaves.
How old would you say he was at that time?
This was 2000. I mean, this was before COVID. I don't know, 17. Like it was like 16, 17, like around that time. Look on his tour. You can.
These jokers need to go to jail. Jesus. Woo. That boy was underage, 16, 17 years old.
See, when he went to Canada, it was in Canada.
Anything else you witnessed with Bieber, or any other rumors or stories?
That's all I know. I mean, that it's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, it's real. That's real. And I was confused too. I was like, well, why would he do that? And she goes, I don't know. It's so weird. He's gay. So we're like, oh, he's gay. He likes what guys, you know? So you just hear things here and there. But I did not see that. But that it's a fact. It was their plane. It was her plane. He was on her plane.
So the other person who people worry about a lot, as well as Bieber, is Britney Spears. It seems like they've both gone through a lot of trauma. Did you hear anything about Britney Spears?
I have not heard anything about Britney. I just know that she's having mental issues due to, being probably owned and managed by a certain company or brand that owns her, maybe has managed her and trying to control her from speaking out. I mean, look, I'm speaking out 20 years later because I was just kind of waiting for Diddy to get RICO'd, but that didn't work out too well. But
the brands own them. The brands own these celebrities, own these, these models and so on. The brands own them. The musicians, the pop icons, the brands own them. Listen to what she's saying. The brands own them. Now, like I said, tomorrow we're going to be talking about some of these brands that are high end designer brands. Come on, designer brands, luxury brands. Tomorrow we'll be talking about this tomorrow. We're diving deep tomorrow, and we are going to. You're gonna be shocked. You are going to be shocked at the people and the things and the history and the roots of these demonic brands, occultic brands. And, this stuff is nothing new. It's been going on since Old Testament. Okay. And that's where we're going tomorrow. So, I'll be showing you more clips, but I'm also going to be mixing it with scripture to show you, the history of some of these brands. It's really crazy. I have one more clip that I want to show you tonight. So I'm going to, let me see here if I can get through this.
Scary, because also you're not able to work. Like, there's no money. It's priceless what that does to you forever. You have to live with. She'll never be the same. You're never the same. I'm never the same. I'm grossed out. I've always been grossed out by men. All my friends were always wondering why I never dressed provocative. Like when I went out, I never dress up provocative because I don't want that attention. I am not that type of person where
the Weinstein story. Because that's so prevalent to the luring and the promising of fame and all of this, and it's a major part of your story. So let's start at the beginning with Weinstein.
Okay, so I was acting at the time. I had an acting agency, and Harvey Weinstein wanted me to be in the movie Cold Mountain because it was filmed in Bulgaria and I speak Bulgarian and I'm easy on the eyes and I can act. So I had a meeting with him and my agent. My agent called me the day before and said, Harvey Weinstein wants to meet with you for the movie Cold Mountain. And I said, well, you're coming with me because at the time we knew all about Harvey Weinstein and what he was about. So I showed up to dinner. I had my dinner with Harvey and Renee, my agent, and then my agent left. We went to Bungalow 8 to the nightclub, and that's when everything started. Harvey Weinstein asked me to go to the Carlisle Hotel to go read the script, Cold Mountain, with him. It was 2:00 in the morning. I said, I don't do that. They handed me cocaine. I took it, put it in my hand. I went to the bathroom. I called my best friend who was dating Lindsay Lohan at the time. I said, I'm in a very sticky situation. I need someone to come help me. So she said, where are you? I said, I'm at Bungalow 8. I'm in the bathroom and I need you guys to come get me. So they came, they showed up. I was sitting with Harvey and Renee. They came and showed up. I said, meet me in the bathroom. They go to the bathroom. I hand Lindsay Lohan the bag of cocaine Harvey gave me. And I said, here, you can have this. I don't want it. She goes, score. She was very happy. And then I said, hey guys, I'm going to jump out in the cab in the front of Bungalow 8 and meet me in the cab. So that instant, I went to the front of Bungalow 8. I jumped in a cab. My best friend Sky, who was human trafficked by Naomi Campbell, and Lindsay jumped in the cab. And as Lindsay was jumping into the cab, the bag of cocaine fell on the ground. And that's when the New York Post posted that Lindsay Lohan has a cocaine problem.
Mm.
And it was actually Harvey Weinstein's bag of cocaine. How crazy is that story?
Mm.
We're gonna have to start. We're gonna have to say white, Ron.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Procure ladies like yourself. And Sean, again, unless there's anything else, are you okay if we jump into some questions just now? Is that right?
Better?
Nah. No, not at all. Do you have your headset or anything like that? It's really odd. It's just all of a sudden happened. And Bella Hadid.
I don't think so. No, they're already so established and looked upon. I don't think so. I think they're just
as well, which we're going to cover next week, is the individuals behind the individuals, and we're going to delve more into Diddy and into Jay-Z and tactics that were used within these famous rappers' circles to try and procure ladies like yourself. And Sean, again, unless there's anything else, are you okay if we jump into some questions just now? Is that right?
Yeah, keep going with the questions.
Okay, so these are from our wonderful community, Barbara, and they're all quite excited to get some questions over. So here we go. Are models of today still doing this, like Kendall Jenner and Bella Hadid?
I don't think so. No, they're already so established and looked upon. I don't think so. I think they're just at the point where maybe at the beginning they had to go to the parties, but they had a father or a mother that was already established.
You're breaking up a tiny bit.
I know that.
Sorry.
I know that.
It's weird. It's your no. You're connected fine. It's your sound that's getting affected. It's bizarre.
Sorry.
That's all right. No, you're still.
She's her device or restarts her device.
Yes. Nothing suspicious at all about.
Wild. I mean, we've interviewed people who have been in all these different stories, but Barbara's story ranges over all of them.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Don't worry. Nothing suspicious at all about the fact that your microphone's being affected at all. Nothing suspicious. And now you're gone again. Brilliant.
This is crazy.
There we go.
Oh my God.
There we go, Babs. We can hear you. We can hear you. That's the one.
Wow.
All right. So one name that I need to ask you about, and you can call this favoritism in the side chat. This one's from a boy, Andy POV. Do you know anything that could tie Meghan Markle into any of these stories, these yachts, or being procured, so to say? No?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, listen.
Well, I mean, I know that his niece was hit on by Epstein, and it ruined the relationship.
Cool. And
She's talking about Trump now.
To any of these stories, your microphone's being affected at all. Nothing suspicious. And now you're gone again. Brilliant.
This is crazy.
There we go.
Oh my God.
There we go, Babs. We can hear you. We can hear you. That's the one.
Wow.
All right. So one name that I need to ask you about, and you can call this favoritism in the side chat. This one's from a boy, Andy POV. Do you know anything that could tie Meghan Markle into any of these stories, these yachts, or being procured, so to say? No?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Andy. Sorry, Paula. I was hoping there was going to be some groundbreaking madness there for you, but sadly not.
No.
Okay, let me jump into some questions then. This is an interesting one because I noticed this, and this is from Nikki. If Trump said Virginia was stolen from the Mar-a-Lago, that means that there were underage girls working at his establishment. That's what I picked up on. Anything to comment on that, either Sean or Babs?
No, I think maybe if she was there, maybe she was hit on by other people. I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that his niece was hit on by Epstein, and it ruined the relationship. I know that he was kicked out. I know that.
Okay. This is another one from Nikki. Is Sean Combs being sacrificed?
No.
No. Okay. This is from Nadine. Was Heidi Klum involved? Just remember, we don't have to go into this right now. We can save this one because it's up. The evidence must be seen, even if it's closed and controlled.
It sucks too for the victims. Like, do they want their bodies displayed in the public? Like, I wouldn't want if somebody did I don't want myself exposed having sex. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
They're asking why all the tapes weren't exposed to the public during the Diddy trial, and so on, only to the jurors.
Kids in winter clothes.
In fact, he's back in trial again. He's back in court again. So we'll have to get to that.
When snowballs and things like that. Okay, because see, once we're done this series, woman has been R'd, but leaves the premises and then returns to the premises after the R has happened. It's complicated. He lost the case. She won. He lost his appeal.
Well, you know, if you keep doing that, if you keep going back, like if you're a big model and you keep who was human trafficked.
Yeah, and we are going to delve deeper.
Okay, but we're going to stop there, you guys. This is a very long video. It's almost over, so we're just going to stop that one. But I want to show you this quick. It's like a 3-minute. It's a short video. I'll stop it probably around 3 minutes or so, but I just want to show you that this is not just with the women or the young women or the girls. It's also with the men. It's also with the men. And she also mentioned that how it's also with the young men as well. So as we know, we talked about in a previous episode, last week's episode, in fact, about the witch that is basically circulating in Hollywood, and she's at the top of the fashion industry with her husband, who is Rick Owens, and her name is Michelle. What's her last name? Michelle Lamy. If you don't remember her, this is her right here. Can y'all see? This is her right here. And we were talking about her last week when we were discussing, the Hollywood situation. Now, and this is her husband right here, Rick Owens. Okay. Very, very weird looking character. And yeah, that's them. And she parades around with Kim Kardashian, all the different, celebs and so on, Rihanna, Usher, anyone you can think of in the fashion industry, in the music industry, etc. They call her the high priestess of Hollywood, and so on and so forth. So now her husband, Rick, is the one who has basically runs the this industry, this modeling industry, along with her. And I'm going to show you this right here. So this is what they're doing. It's occult sacrifice through fashion. That's basically what it is. And they are worshiping and sacrificing to their gods, you know, through these fashion shows. Okay. So let's go. This is the spring summer 2025 Paris Fashion Week men's collection. Notice it's an actual temple setup. I don't know if I'm going to get flagged for this music though, so I have to mute it. Just want to show you some of the wickedness going on, you know, in these fashion shows. So they're actually having a temple, um, you know, see their faces are painted all demonic and everything. They're actually having a temple sacrifice right now, a temple ritual right now. Um, because the fashion show is dedicated to the gods, the Greek gods that they worship. You know, ridiculous. But I wanted to just kind of, I'm going to skip through because who wears this, right? Who's going to wear something like that? Who is going to wear that? You know what I mean? They look like the living dead, like you see. Now who's going to wear that? Everybody, every weird looking person. Look at this. I believe these are actual witches and warlocks um, that they have groomed. And y'all know when the movie Harry Potter came out, I did not watch that movie. If you have not watched that movie, please don't watch that movie because it really, really pushed. They used that movie to really, really push this whole witchcraft thing into shove it into the world's face, and it's being supported and driven by stuff like this, the witchcraft. But if you notice there, that image, that statue there is a Greek god. I don't know which one it is, but obviously they dedicated this temple to these Greek gods, and that's one of the statues right there. Look at this. This is a fashion show, you guys. Tell me this is not a satanic ritual. Look at that. And these men are androgynous. These men and women, they are, you see how they have them, look, they all look androgynous if they're not. So that means they are, basically, because, they chose to participate. Androgyny, if you don't know what that is rainbow community, and anything goes. All the alphabet, all the letters of the alphabet, anything goes. So they have completely sold their souls. And that tower that they're making, it's an formed in the letter A, it looks like, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. I have to look that up. But look at these people. They look like slaves. They're in bondage. Like they have their faces wrapped and their heads wrapped and everything. Look at them. And the smoke going up is the incense to their gods. It's the men's collection. Look at that. So what are you trying to say? What message are you trying to convey to men by doing this? This is how they want the men to look. Okay. That's how they want them to look, guys. And let me show you this one too. This is this was 2 months ago. There's that same statue tower thingy that they have. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's something because they keep highlighting it. Look at this guy. I mean, that's total abuse. That's drug abuse. That's how they want the men to look, right? They keep showing this weird looking tower. See it? What is he going to do? He's going up to the tower to do what? What is he doing? Into the water. So, water witches? Like, what's that? Look at the temple smoke. Marine spirits? What are they trying to portray? This is demonic, guys. Look at that. Dedicated to the water gods. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Look at that, guys. This is a fashion show. But it's supposed to be a fashion show. A men's fashion show. And notice it's called Men's Temple. But those are not men. Those are, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And they all look dead like zombies. And I'm hearing the Spirit of God say vampires again. Vampires. Look at that one. He just got down in the water and baptized himself. Like, what is that? Be careful, guys. When you're shopping in these stores and you see stuff that looks like that, like, just be careful what we're buying. These labels and these so-called designer brands and designer fashion, anything with Rick Owens, don't, because this is dedicated to demons. Look, they're getting in the water intentionally. Water baptism. Look at that. They're mocking water baptism. Why are they getting in? Why are they baptizing themselves? Marine spirits, androgyny. Look at that one. Look how he's just laying there on the ladder. This is what they want to do with our young men. This is what they want to do with your children when they get in the fashion industry. Look at that. Zombies, industry slaves. Look at that. Look at that one right there. Just laying there like a dead person. They're laying there like dead people. Because that's what their gods want. They want human life. They want you to die. Jesus, have mercy. See, it's now. Okay, now that they're in the water, what are they doing? They're going up to the tower, going to the top of the tower now. Look at that. What are y'all doing? He grabs a sickle, like like a grim reaper sickle in his hand. Look at their gods back there in the background up top. What is that? What on earth is that? Blood of Jesus. Blood of Jesus. Blood of Jesus. What is that supposed to mean? Look at this. What on earth is that supposed to mean? And here's Rick Owens. That's the end of the show. Now they're all going to salute him. There's the high witch, the high warlock that they all are bowing to. This is just crazy. This is high fashion, guys. What's those words on the wall? You see the words on the wall? Let's just pause that right there. It says Ava Voluntura something des forces something Francois something something or another. Um, Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Madness. Now they're all following him back up. This is so guys, I I every industry, everything is connected. Everything is connected, like she said, like that model said. So more confirmation, right? More confirmation and just clarity on what's going on in these industries to help us be alert, to help us to beware, to help us understand why God keeps saying to stop eating things, consuming things, buying things, watching things, listening to things that have been sacrificed unto demons. We have to be careful because this, what they're calling like high end fashion, right? It trickles down very quickly. So it starts with the high profile celebrities and so on. They push it out to the culture. It ends up in your favorite, shopping malls, your favorite shopping stores, H&M, um what's the other one? I even forget the other one because I don't even go there. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even go there. I don't actually shop like that, anymore. It's just thank God he has me where he has me. I'll just put it like that because you know, if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, "Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute." But uh H&M and gosh, what's that other store? Uh top uh hold on. This is gonna bother me if I don't Zara, that's the other one, Zara. It is gonna bother me if I couldn't remember the name Zara, right? And so on and so forth. So these types of stores, it trickles down to these stores. It trickles down, to what I'm saying. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm gonna let y'all go. I would say that I was going to split this in half, this stream in half, but I don't. Last time I did that, guys, more people watched. It's like everybody watched part one and nobody really watched part two, so they didn't get the message behind the topic. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep it on one episode. And I'm going to create some clips and some shorts and put them out there. Not on TikTok, probably, because I got shut out of TikTok. TikTok kicked me out. I had almost 1,000 followers in a matter of like 2 weeks. And that was because I was publishing the truth, and some of these platforms, they don't want the truth published, so you know a I haven't had that problem yet on any other platform but TikTok. So, I had to start over on TikTok. So if you're here from TikTok and you're trying to find me on TikTok and you're like, where is she? They kicked me out. They shut down my account. They locked me out. They said they gave me 3 strikes in one day, before I even understood the rules. They were like, bam, bam, bam. They changed the rules, sent out a notification, and then they struck me 3 times in one day and closed the account. Can't get back into it. So I opened a new one and I will be posting on the new one. And I'll put the link in the description box, and it'll be here on my YouTube channel description so you can find it. Okay. And, help me rebuild. And but I have to be very careful over there. So, yeah, that's where we're going to stop right now tonight. And I will see you guys here tomorrow. See you here tomorrow. So, like, comment, share, invite people, for tomorrow, because we're talking about these luxury brands. And, you need to know whether or not you're investing in demonic designers. If you're investing in witchcraft, you're saving up your money to get your favorite luxury bag, etc. Right? Your favorite pair of Hermes, shoes or sandals, or what have you. And, you're saving up your hard earned money to invest in witchcraft. That is madness. That is madness. So we're going to help you out tomorrow. Okay. We're going to help you out tomorrow. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. Love you. Bye.